back, and what an honor to have with us today Dennis Kneale. He is the author of Leadership Genius of Elon Musk. He's an award-winning journalist, media strategist, and advisor to senior executives, and the host of What's Bugging Me podcast. He also has anchored on CNBC and at Fox Business Network after serving as a senior editor at Wall Street Journal and managing editor at Forbes. There's a picture of the cover of his book there on the screen, The Leadership Genius of Elon Musk by Dennis Kneale. You may want to check that out. Dennis, thank you for your time. Thanks for waiting. How are you?
It's great to see you, Perry. Happy Tuesday to you.
Yeah, same to you, buddy. Where do I start with you? So much to talk about, so little time. What do you think about the recent filings over there at the Bureau of Labor Statistics?
Right. So that, the other side's creating this as, this is a new constitutional crisis. And oh my gosh, it's going to undermine the validity of government data. And Trump's firing her in favor of someone who will just do whatever Trump wants, blah, blah, blah. But, the thing is, in the real world, in the private sector where Donald Trump made his career, you fire someone who does a bad job. And now it feels like, Perry, the apprentice is back and you're fired. It's becoming possible because of, I think, Supreme Court rulings recently, right, since Trump took over, giving the president more power to go ahead and reach down and make firings like that. And the thing is, this Bureau of Labor Statistics would still uses old-fashioned 1960s style telephone interviews to try to get responses. And it used to have 90% participation, and now it's down to 60% or worse. This Bureau got it wrong in the election year 2024, something like 9 out of 11 months, and always to the upside in favor of Biden. In a 12-month period ending March 2024, the Bureau of Labor Statistics had to say that something like, I think it's 818,000 jobs that we thought had been created in those 12 months actually weren't. We were wrong, and they had to revise downward. And so they keep being wrong and wrong and wrong. And then you look at one more thing, Perry. The BLS, that Stats Bureau, is inside the Department of Labor. In the Department of Labor, 91% of political donations by staff go to Democrats. And I think that we have a broader problem across government with skewed government data and data that really we shouldn't necessarily trust, and we should take a much harder look at.
Amazing. So this is clearly a termination on accountability and performance and accuracy, more so than just silencing a dissent.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. In fact, if you look, I think I saw a stat on X, because X platform is an amazing platform for us to get unfiltered real news from all sides. It's just incredible. And someone from Congress maybe said, look, the Bureau got it wrong something like 43 out of 48 months of the Biden administration, and always wrong to the upside. Gee, how's that happen exactly?
Yeah.
And look at data. Look at the University of Michigan Consumer Sentiment Survey. It's another example where political skew is affecting data. The stock market reacts to ups and downs in that consumer sentiment survey. But then you look, and it turns out that among Democrats who respond to the survey, they think inflation is going to be 6% a year. Well, it's nothing like that. And among Republicans in that same survey, they say that inflation is going to be rising at only 0.6% a year. Neither figure is even realistic. People are gaming the system, and they're giving bigger answers than they really feel, I think, and it's affecting data everywhere, this political split.
So, Dennis, can we trust the BLS, and do we need it?
Do we need it? There's got to be a better way of tracking data. Automated data processing handles weekly paychecks for a huge number of companies. Adobe is able to actually track every single handheld device and what it's doing in terms of viewing. There's got to be technologically a far better way of getting jobs data. And, on one hand, no, we shouldn't trust it. On the other hand, when the entire stock market and all the investors are acting on the data that are there, well, that's what it is.
Yeah.
They're trading on it for an individual to say, well, I'm just not going to trust it and trade against that, you could get clobbered, But I think that we certainly should be a lot more circumspect or even suspicious, right? Because one more thing, Perry, sorry for the filibuster answer here, the Federal Reserve, where it is so clear that Jerome Powell, refuses to cut interest rates because you, President Trump, are trying to tell me to. At the Federal Reserve, 92% of staff political donations go to Democrats. How does that not show up in the way they are treating this president? In his first term, after going 8 years of no interest rate cuts, and only in the last year of Obama, the Fed put in like 2 tepid little cuts. Then in comes Trump term 1, 9 rate increases by the Fed.
Yeah.
With no signs of inflation. And so I think that they are against Trump. I think they wanted him to fail. And I think that affected their decision making.
Well, to that end, we really don't need the feds.
No, we really don't, do we?
No.
In fact, someone just told me, I didn't know this. I should have.
Yeah.
But the last time the Fed cut rates, the long rates on the 30-year Treasury bond went up rather than down. So, maybe we should just let the market do it. But, if we do that, the federal government might be in danger of going bankrupt because the Fed keeps the government afloat.
All right, let me swing your attention, because I only got you for one segment today. I want to get you back, but I want to swing your attention over to the Russiagate issue. Has this significantly changed now that it's going to go to a grand jury?
Well, that does change some big things, doesn't it? Because the mainstream press, especially the four horsemen, kind of, Washington Post, New York Times, CNN, and MSNBC, they've been burying the story of what a hoax the whole thing was. They've been burying the fact that the Hillary Clinton campaign originated the idea of falsely linking Trump to Russia collusion as a way to divert attention from her at-home email server, deleting 30,000 emails scandal that was hurting her campaign. That's where it all began. And then Obama picks it up and runs with it. And the New York Times has barely done anything on this. And then all of television follows what the New York Times, the ski tracks that the New York Times sets. They're doing their best to ignore it or say that it's retaliation. And it's because they themselves, the Times and the Post, look too bad. How did you guys, two of the best newspapers in the world who won Pulitzer Prizes for investigating Russiagate, how did you guys miss entirely that this was a setup from the start? And maybe it's because your reporters knew it, and maybe they were co-conspirators and taking part in it. Or were they just so incredibly blind because Trump's a bad man and I want to help Biden? Either way, a pox on both of your houses there, Post and Times. Give back your Pulitzers.
Okay, so to my point on that one, Dennis, is that they could do their investigation, and they have done some stuff, and they've released a lot of information that verifies the problem. But sending it to a grand jury, that's a game changer, because out of that, there is the possibility of indictments, right?
Yeah, and remember that old saying, right? That a good prosecutor can get a grand jury to indict a ham sandwich, was it, several decades ago? And so the question is going to be, how aggressive is the federal prosecutor in this case? How serious is the Justice Department? And man, I got to think they're pretty serious here. And it is astounding to think that some of these demagogues, some of these big fat liars who have been getting contracts to go on television, on cable news, and perpetuate the same lie over and over again, that they finally might have to face the music, bring them in, force testimony, file charges against some of these people. Brennan, Clapper, Comey. I mean, my gosh, that would be an amazing thing to see. And somehow, Perry, I kind of really doubt whether we're ever going to see it. What do you say?
Well, I've talked to a lot of people on this issue. Most say probably no indictments. And then all of a sudden the grand jury is announced, and my brain goes another direction, because for the sake of the integrity of law and the consequences of breaking it, and knowing that the law was broken, somebody's got to go down on this one.
They have to, or the law means nothing.
Right.
And when we look, here's the great thing. With the old cable networks, the news networks, all the news outlets, you're seeing this kind of filtered diet of only what they want you to see. But now on the X platform, you see video from all of these people lying through their teeth on television again and again. And we now know, because we now see those same names on memos where they're clearly agreeing to take part in this conspiracy. Somebody has to pay, or nobody will pay.
All right. A couple other quick questions back to our industry. As you know, the president now is going to sue the Wall Street Journal in particular. He wants to see Murdoch be deposed quickly. And then the New York Times posts a bad picture, a phony picture of a starving baby there in Gaza. Both turned out to be false. Why would these two organizations, with the reputation they have, do something so blatantly wrong?
You know, is it just more Trump derangement syndrome? Is it that they're just so far gone? You know, the Wall Street Journal, I worked there 16 years. I love that paper. I read it every day. It continues to be one of the best papers in the world. And yet it's so clear on the news pages and the op-ed pages both that they detest Donald Trump because he's uncouth. He's unschooled in Washington ways. And, you know, the Wall Street Journal top editors have been inside that power structure for decades. And so Trump is the outsider. And it filters over, and even more so in the Times. You know, I used to respect the New York Times. I don't recognize it today. It is such a liberal lapdog instead of a watchdog. And I guess they've decided that that's what the market will support. I guess they're doing it because they are profit-making enterprises. So they must be doing this in part because they think it pays off. But shame on all these mass media outlets that have gotten so blinded and brainwashed by going against Trump in every single way. And the Democrat Party, where I've been a registered member for my entire life, the Democrat Party has just lost it. You see this Senator Warren coming out in the New York Post headline where a Native American meets an African American because Mom Donnie, the likely next New York City mayor, lied on an application somewhere and said he was black. A great sign, by the way, that we do not live in a racist country, that we are an unracist country. If this guy wants to lie and say he's black, and meanwhile she lied and said she was Native American, and then they met up together, because now Warren is saying this is the future of the Democrat Party. This socialist. I mean, stuff going on every day is just more and more amazing, is it not?
Yeah, put your brain on tilt. One other quick question. So what's your take? Is Elon Musk and President Trump, are they still going to be friends?
You know, they haven't been in touch in a while, right? Because if they were, it would leak and we'd know about it immediately. And yet the other day I see this little sign. The U.S. came out and sanctioned that evil judge in Brazil, I think it was, this kind of a Harry Potter-like villain figure who gone after Elon Musk and X, who tried to shut down the platform, sanction them, etc. So the U.S. government was taking action against this judge. And I thought, you know, you could have just let it lie. But now you're taking action against a judge who's personally gone after Elon Musk and threatened to put the guy in jail. That's an interesting move. Maybe something underneath, there's an olive branch going on.
Yeah.
Maybe the split was in part theater, because Elon needed to separate himself from Trump to help his stock price.
Yeah. Wasn't that just kind of like, with all due respect, kind of like a ego battling of the billionaires?
Yeah. One problem being one billionaire is worth maybe $4 or $5 billion, and the other billionaire is worth $300 billion. Yeah, but it was a battle of billionaires. And, you know, Trump has a lot of respect for Elon, for that wealth that Elon built. And I think that Elon might have overestimated his own personal popularity and might have underestimated the power of this president in this fallout. But I pray they'll get back together. They need each other,
they do.
And America needs both of them.
To your book, in some ways, business-wise, he is a genius, isn't he?
He is incredible. And I offer 11 lessons of Elon that we could borrow to build a better career and a bigger life for ourselves. He dreams huge. He's willing to spend decades pursuing it. he feels like it's better to launch and burn than never to launch at all. So he welcomes failure as a necessary step on the way to success, whereas most of us, try to avoid it and we're afraid of it. He bets on himself and doubles down. All of these things we could learn from. He teases his rivals and tortures his enemies. And I think a lot of us could learn to fight back harder, because too many of us stood silent when America was going the wrong way. And we just sat there and let it happen during COVID instead of standing up and making ourselves heard. That's another lesson. This guy speaks out. He is a great American in part, right? Because he's an adopted American. He has the zeal.
Well, his work with Doge is just amazing. You kind of wanted him to continue.
Well, and there's a compounding effect, because I recently saw that their estimate of 175 is up to like 190 something billion in annual savings that accrues, and it will continue year after year. But now that they're in place and some of those tech systems are in place, they're able to ferret out more waste and fraud and unused contracts that just keep recurring year after year. And I think we ought to be happy for that. And I can't believe that Democrats were protesting against this. Gosh.
Yeah. It's an old saying, one of the truisms I have: the affluent never have to accept the word no.
Yes. Okay. I guess they don't.
They can make it happen. Dennis, you're fascinating. I wish I had more time. We're going to get you back. Let me say to our viewers and listeners, get this book. There's apparently 11 lessons for you in there. The Leadership Genius of Elon Musk. Available online, Dennis?
Available at Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes and Noble. And please put up a nice review on Amazon. Some of the Elon haters are giving me 1 star. It's very charitable of them.
Okay.
And but I'm real proud of the book, and I'm dying for Elon himself to read it and vet it, because I think he'd be surprised at the lessons. He doesn't know them. He's too far inside his own circle. Thanks so much, Perry.
Yeah, you know what I'll do is I'll get Elon on, put you on, let you guys have at it on this program.
Yeah. There you go.
Hey,
get him, man.
Good to see you, friend. Thanks for your time.
Take care, man. Have a great week.
You too.